Well, good morning or good afternoon, whenever you happen to get to this. And welcome to my library. This is not my library. I'm having fun with visual backgrounds. But welcome to my library as we kind of look at some things for your map test. I'm going ahead and recording this because I know several of you have to be in different places at different times tomorrow. Some of you are traveling back to campus or there's a few of you who are moving. Some of you are having to get jobs. I know there's a lot of different things going on. I know that all of you are in my prayers, and I want to make this as easy as possible while still being able to grant those credits at the end of the semester. Most of your IDs went pretty well. I want to remind you that you can use your notes as you're writing your IDs this week. But the focus of this video is about the maps and the map test. And next week's material we'll talk about in a moment. So here we go. I'm gonna share your screen and you're gonna see some PowerPoints on the maps, and hopefully this will work out just fine. There we go. And I am over in the corner. I'm probably going to move around a little bit as you watch the videos. You've seen that before. All right. You've got a couple of different maps for this. I have cut it down. We're not going to use the close-up map of northern France that you see here. Instead, I have opted to put the battles on two separate maps of Europe. You're going to have this particular map that you see here. This is the Roman Empire map, and that map will be the first map that you deal with. You will also have a world map, and you will have a map of Europe post-World War I, okay? So basically set in about 1925 or so, okay? And we're going to take a look at both of those. Let's start by looking at a few of the rivers. Now, I've put more rivers on this map than are actually on your map list, and I'll explain why in a minute. Now, the first things to keep in mind when you're doing your map, always find your bodies of water first, and those aren't going to move. Use the bodies of water as a landmark as you're moving in. Caspian Sea over here to the very far right of your screen, and then the Baltic Sea to the north. Now, remember, you've got the difference between the Baltic and the Black. And with the Baltic Sea is going to be alphabetically before the Black Sea, okay? And we talked about that a little bit in class, so keep that in mind. Baltic, Black, Caspian, the Mediterranean. You won't have the Adriatic on there. I just put that there for reference because it's there from another period when I was doing this, so keep that in mind. Let's talk a little bit about rivers. Now I got to figure out where I need to be on this screen to get out of the way. The map. How's that? That's pretty good. Okay. The Volga River, you'll see coming up out of the Caspian Sea. Now, I'm going to show that to you on a map in a second that's got the cities on it, and you really want to take note of the Volga, even though you don't have to know it for the map test. But the Volga is going to help you locate Moscow, Stalingrad, and even to a degree St. Petersburg, okay, and Leningrad. So you need that river to locate all the cities. So take note of where the Volga is. Go ahead and mark it on your maps. And if you have not gotten printed off the maps, you need to pause the video, go get your map, and so we can walk it through, okay? Now, all right, let's move over here and let's do a few more of the rivers. The Seine River right here that Paris is on, one of the main rivers of France. The Rhine, now note your horseshoe right here, okay? Note your horseshoe. That's your kind of telltale sign that you're dealing with the Rhine River. I've also put on here the Vistula. And once again, the Vistula, like the Volga, is not a river that you need to mark, that's going to be marked on the map. but the Vistula is actually important to finding a couple of the cities and things that you need to be able to know, okay? The Vistula is the central river of Poland. So if I ask you for Poland, find this river, okay? The Elbe River, once again, it has this little weird elbow up here. It is, once again, a river that you're going to need, and it kind of swings around here at the bottom, and you're going to need that for locating both the cities of Berlin and Prague, and we'll talk about them in a moment. And the third of the rivers that you do need to know, you need to know the Seine, you need to know the Rhine, you need to know the Danube, okay? Those three are all on these three, okay? These three right here. This one, because I can't really draw very well as I go. But these three right here are the three rivers that are on the map, are possibles for the map test that are on your list, okay? I told you I can't actually draw. And now it's going to want me to do other things than draw. Oh, there it is. Okay, is that it? Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. I don't usually do this. Okay. All right. Why is it not moving? There we go. The Thames River is going to be the river in England. Once again, this is not one that's on your study guide on your map list for the test, but it's also going to help you locate the city of London, as we'll see in just a second. One more river that is actually on your list, and that is the Somme. Now, you'll notice that the Somme River is between the Seine and the Rhine, okay? You'll notice it's right there beside the kind of jutting out spot that almost touches the British Isles, okay? That almost touches there in the narrow point of what's known as the Strait of Dover. And that's going to be the Somme River. Notice that it's right there along the latitude line. And that will help you hopefully keep an eye on where the Somme is. And the Somme, as we're going to see, is very critical to where a couple of the battles are for World War I. Okay, let's move on to cities. And I need to erase my annotations real fast. Although some of those will be useful for other things. Okay. When you're dealing with the cities, you want to keep track of, once again, where your rivers are, because your rivers are going to help you figure out things, okay? Now, the first cities that I want to kind of look at here are the ones in the British Isles. I want you to find London. Now, with London, once again, find the Seine River, find the prime meridian. Whoa. We went backwards. Sorry about that. Find the prime meridian, the 0 degrees longitude line that runs through Greenwich. London is actually on the 2-degree longitude line, but you're never going to find that. Okay, so on this map, this is not that small a scale. So you need to actually just look for the 0 degree longitude line and where it crosses the river, and that's where you're going to put that's where London's going to be on your map. Okay. To the north, you'll find where the indentation is. That's Edinburgh. Edinburgh is not on this particular map test, but it is on some others, and so I wanted to go ahead and put this on here for later. Now, go across from London and find the little horseshoe, and kind of right there at the lip of the horseshoe is where the city of Amsterdam sits in the Netherlands. Okay, so if you're hunting for Amsterdam, if you're hunting for the Netherlands or the Dutch Republic, hunt for the horseshoe, because that's where that's where those are. Okay, let's go down to Paris, and with Paris, once again, find the river. If you want to find the 50 degrees, whoa. latitude line right there, then you certainly can. That Paris is going to sit in between 50s and 45 degrees. And you'll see here that Paris sits on the River Seine. Because your first map is dealing more with the French Revolution in the early 19th century, you want to deal with, in fact, Marseille, which is critical for the French Revolution. Down here, right on, just past the 5-degree longitude line, and you'll find, in fact, the city of Marseille, okay, here in the south of France. Now, I didn't mark the border right here of Switzerland. Geneva is actually in Switzerland. It's right there on the very tip of the Swiss border coming into France. Okay, so you can, it's sitting there just to almost directly below Amsterdam is kind of where it is. Now, Lisbon over here where we've been dealing with the earthquake, over here the very tip of Portugal is the great port city of Lisbon. Rome, on the map of Italy, there's usually a small river right there, and that's where the city of Rome sits. Rome is probably going to be on your map of that's post-World War I, most likely because it's at that point that you're going to get a unified Italy. Now, Constantinople over here for reference purposes at the edge of the Black Sea. Now, while I'm over here on the Black Sea, let me go ahead and kind of put a couple of things here. This lovely peninsula that you see here is the Crimea, okay? If it will let me annotate, there we go. This is the Crimea. The Crimean Peninsula is rather important in terms of its significance to the Russians. And it's going to be the place where eventually they put their Black Sea fleet. It's going to be where, in fact, the Yalta Conference of the Second World War is going to take place, is right here on the Crimean Peninsula in the Black Sea. So keep that in mind. Now, you're also going to have down here in the Mediterranean area, the city of Sarajevo. Sarajevo is right through here. There, once again, here's the Adriatic that I marked on the last map, and you'll see Sarajevo sitting there just kind of right in this general area of the Baltics, okay? Sarajevo is going to be where, in fact, the First World War is going to have the incident that is the flashpoint that sets off the incidents of the First World War. Vienna, okay. Find the Danube, which is a little bit harder to see on this particular map. I'm going to give you a little more contrast there for a second. You'll see here, Vienna, if you come up the river and turn the river, you're going to find Vienna sitting right through here. And the city of Bonn, which is going to serve as the capital of West Germany during the post-war period, post-Second War period of the Cold War, you'll find sitting kind of right here between the arms of the Rhine, just over the Rhine, closer to France is where you'll find it. Now, for Prague and Berlin, find the Elbe River. Here's Denmark, here's the Jutland Peninsula, which is where Denmark is located. And you come past the elbow and down here, and there's a crosshairs of the longitude and latitude lines. And then there's this river that kind of loops up. Right here, but close to the crosshairs, is where the city of Prague sits. Okay, now Prague's going to be the capital of Czechoslovakia, which will be on your post-war World War I map. And so find where the river is, find Prague, and then find Czechoslovakia. Okay, you'll put those two pieces together. Now the next one of these is Berlin. And now with Berlin, find the two rivers. There's the Oder, there's the Elbe, okay? And so right here by this elbow, just east of the elbow, is going to be where the city of Berlin is, okay? Which is going to become the capital of Germany, and initially it's going to be the capital of Prussia. And we'll talk about what Prussia is in a minute. Now, I mentioned on the last slide, this kind of crosshairs of the rivers. That is where Warsaw sits. Now, once again, if you've got to find Poland, find this river, and then find Warsaw, and then you've got Poland, okay? Now, let's move over into Russia for a little bit. Russia, once again, find the Volga River. There it is coming up out of the Caspian, and it's going to do all sorts of lovely, funky curves. You'll see this little curve up here that's between the 35 and 40 degree longitude. And right there is going to be the city of Moscow. Okay, so that's where you want to put Moscow. Now, up to the north of Moscow. Moscow is kind of the heart of Russia. It's going to be the Dukes of Muscovy that throw out the Mongols and establish Russian independence. But prior to World War I, from the 1700s all the way through past World War I, just past World War I in the Russian Revolution, the capital is not in Moscow. It's to the north here in this city that sits right off the Baltic. This is the Baltic right here. This is the Gulf of Finland. And then sitting here right there on that very edge is the city of St. Petersburg. Now, St. Petersburg is the original name of the city. It's the name of the city now. But during the course of the 20th century, it will change its name to Petrograd. And then with the communist revolution in Russia in the 1920s, the city's name will be changed to Leningrad. Now, Leningrad's really important because Leningrad is actually going to be a city where there's a massive siege by the Nazis of the Russians there at Leningrad, and Leningrad is under siege for over a year and does not fall. And the city gets in pretty dire straits along the way. Now, the last of the cities that I want to mention here in Russia is Stalingrad. Now, once again, go find the Volga. Now, coming up out of the Black Sea is another river that's called the Don. And right here where the rivers almost touch but don't, that land right between the rivers is where Stalingrad is. Stalingrad is no longer called Stalingrad. In the post-Soviet period, Russia changed the name to Volgograd. This meaning grad simply means city in Russian. And so that means city of the Volga. But Stalingrad is a rather important name for Russia and its history and for the Soviet Union during the Second World War, as we'll see in just a second. Okay, now for this map, I've left some of the cities on here to help give you reference as we begin to look at battles. Okay, and we'll look at countries in a minute, but I want to look at battles first. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put my cities back on, okay, not all of them. But and I don't know why Sarajevo is out of joint. Sarajevo's down here. I'm not certain quite why it's up there. All right. Now, one of the things to first note here is that for both Leningrad and Stalingrad, you've got an X there that denotes that there was battles there. So if you see an X by something and there's an X where the city is, that just means that, yes, I'm referencing the Battle of Stalingrad. So keep that clearly in your minds. Now, I've got both World War II battles, World War I, and a couple of Napoleonic era things here going on in this map, and I'll show you as we go. Okay. Napoleonic era, the battles that you're going to deal with that are in the center of the map, okay? Not over here in Russia, okay? Like you can see where I'm pointing on this map, but not over here in Russia. Now, those are all going to be Second World War, but anything here in the center of Europe is going to be Napoleonic battles. The one that's going to be closest to Vienna is going to be the Battle of Ulm. Okay, it's below the Danube River. So if you want to say it's under, Ulm is under the river, if that helps you, go for it. Austerlitz is all the way over here. Okay, so Austerlitz is over, okay? Um, and then kind of below Berlin, you'll find the Battle of Jena. So Jena is kind of in the center. There's actually there's a couple of other battles there, but I'm not giving you all of those. I'm just giving you these three because it gets really messy unless we get a very detailed map of Europe. And this is as far as I want to go. Okay. Now, also Napoleonic. I toyed with which battles to give you. The Battle of the Nile down in Egypt, I don't have marked on this map. I'll show you a map of the world in a moment. But Trafalgar right here, there's our Straits of Gibraltar. And on the Atlantic side of the Straits is where the X will be, because that's where the Battle of Trafalgar takes place, at the mouth of the Mediterranean, and where Napoleon is defeated rather soundly by Lord Nelson, even though it cost Nelson his life. All right, where does the other great defeat that I have here for of Napoleon is his final one, and that's here at Waterloo. Now, how do you find Waterloo? Okay. This is one of the reasons why I left the cities on here to help you. For Waterloo, find Amsterdam first, okay? Find Amsterdam, because Waterloo is in Belgium, okay? And Belgium's just to the southwest of the Netherlands, okay? It's just to the southwest, and so that's why you need to go here, find Amsterdam, and kind of to the southwest is where Waterloo is. Now, the next sets of battles will not be on the same map. I promise you this. Will not be on the same map as Waterloo, okay? Because I'm not, this is why I gave up on the blow up map of northern France, because it just creates too much confusion for people. So Waterloo will be on the map of Europe in the 19th and the 18th century. It's not going to be on the map with World War I and World War II stuff, okay? So just cross that off your list of worries, okay? So if you want to just mark that on that map and then and just put the other battles on the post World War I map, that's fine too. Okay. Now over here is Normandy. Okay. Now France has got a couple of lovely little peninsulas that you see here. And with Normandy, this is where we all are over here, is in Normandy. Normandy is this is actually the very tip over here. That's actually Brittany. So this area right through here is Normandy. And you'll see an X for the Battle of Normandy. Okay. D-Day. Now, remember where I said the Somme River was. Now, the Somme River is going to have several different battles on it. The Battle of Ypres, the Battle of Amiens, both are kind of right on the Somme River. In fact, there's also 3 different battles that we can call the Battle of the Somme, okay? One of which lasts from July of 1916 until November of 1916. It's a mess. Okay, and we'll get there. But note where, in fact, once again, this bulge that almost touches across the English Channel here. By the way, this is the English Channel. This piece of body of water right here. I'll put the marker right here because this is considered the channel. This tiny one right here is considered the Strait of Dover. You don't need to know that. Okay. Right below that is the Battle of Amiens, or Ypres, Y-P-R-E-S. I will either give you Amiens or Ypres. I will not give you both, okay? Not on the same map. So you can do Amiens and Ypres. Basically, they're on this map, they're so close together that you can't tell the difference. So, but notice that it's between, okay? It's right here close to that latitude line, excuse me. And it's right below where that bulge is, that's Calais, okay? If I give you Dunkirk, Dunkirk's on the bulge, okay? So let me go back. Right here, okay? Dunkirk is right here on the bulge. Amiens is inland on the river, okay? And I think I've gotten all the battles off of this that I'm going to deal with. Okay. With the battles, a lot of it is knowing what country each place is in and kind of what area so that you know where to go find it. Okay, so keep that in mind. This map right here, you can see there's Waterloo. Okay, and just like I say, just to the south kind of Amsterdam. Okay, I've made it a little bit more distinct. Trafalgar's there, you've got Lisbon there, there's Ulm, there's Vienna, there's Jena, there's Berlin, there's Austerlitz, okay, and there's Moscow, okay. So keep that in mind as you're dealing with all of this, all right, and this is the map you need to work with. All right. I went ahead and marked Dunkirk kind of right here by the bowls because that's where the evacuation occurs. Your triangles will be your markers for countries, so keep that in mind. There's Great Britain and France, Prussia. Prussia is going to be up here in the north. And so if you've got a triangle that's up here in the north off the Baltic, that's going to be Prussia. If it's going to be Poland, it's going to be further inland. And Poland and Prussia will not be on the same map, okay? Poland will be on the later map. It will not be on the map of the Napoleonic era because it's been eaten already, okay? Germany. If on the more recent map for the world wars, Germany will be in the center. Okay, so keep that in mind. I did not mark Italy on here. I think most of you can find the Italian boot. Austria right here. Okay, so Vienna is the capital that's sitting on the Danube. Austria is going to be right here. Now on the map after World War I, you're going to have this lovely little square down here. This is Yugoslavia. And Yugoslavia is going to be a key place. Now I'm going to move up here. I'm going to move over here for a second, kind of talk about this. The Ottoman Empire. Now the empire. This is the only empire that I'm marking as an empire with kind of the explosion sort of marker on your maps. Now Russia and the Soviet Union are both possibilities on the map. I won't give them to you on the same map. I may give them to you on different maps. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. And I'm going to go move the Crimea off of here, all right, real quickly, because we sure don't need the Crimea on our map of the world. Okay. This is the world map that you're going to have right here. This is, I like to have the border in blue for those of you who have some optical illusion problems. Couple of things. Let's go over here let's go talk about some battles here, which should be coming up. There we go. All right. We've got a couple of battles that are these are battles in the Second World War, and they are naval battles and naval engagements. So the key is here to know where they are going to be positioned on the map. Midway is in the islands over here in the Pacific, and they're going to be on the right-hand side, the eastern side of the map, even though that's not quite how it looks on the Pacific Ocean, but the Pacific is not in the center of the map, so that's going to throw you off a little bit. Meanwhile, Hawaii is over here, this little strand of islands, so that's going to put Pearl Harbor in Hawaii over here. Now, I've actually moved the X up a little bit because I usually kind of sit it right down, smack dab on top of the islands, but I wanted you to be able to see where the islands were on this particular map. Okay. If I give you a battle in China, it's Nanjing. Okay, there are other battles in China. I'm not dealing with them. I'm only going to deal with Nanjing. Two battles possible in Egypt. The first is the Battle of the Nile. So if I draw the River Nile and put an X on the Battle of the Nile right over here, then we're dealing with the Battle of the Nile. If it's kind of over here, then we're dealing with El Alamein, which is a turning point battle in North Africa in the Second World War. Okay. Now, there are two battle sites in Japan on this map. It's impossible for me to give you both of them. They are both in southern Japan to the south, in the southern portions of the Big Island. Hiroshima and Nagasaki are both there. I will not give you both. You'll have one or the other. I probably will give you Japan. If I give you Japan, I usually put my big triangle kind of around the whole country, and I'll tell you which number goes with the battle and which number goes with the country. So please watch out for that. Okay. Brazil. Ooh. Let me go back to my sharing my screen here because I lost my map. There we go. It'll come back in just a second. All right. Brazil, China, over here, China, India. Okay. The United States, I'm hopeful that you can find. Charleston's in the south, Boston's in the furthest north, New York, and then DC is kind of in the middle. So probably won't give you all of those coastal cities. I'll probably give you one at most, probably one northern one in Charleston. Okay. So the United States, Haiti right here is the only other thing I've given you over here for one of the places of revolutions. I think I gave you Colombia and maybe Panama. So make certain that in Mexico. I'm less worried about your ability to deal with that than I am some of the other battles. All right. Well, that kind of sums up what we're doing. In terms of that, if you've got a question, if there's something you can't find on one of the maps, please holler at me. Please watch for your Monday morning announcement for next week. If there's any changes into the schedule, I'll post them there. And please make certain that you check the announcement video that will be on Canvas on Monday morning. I'll try to get that there by noon at the very latest. Okay, so that you've got that there. Noon my time, guys. Good luck with the map test. Please, please, please holler. Make certain that you get your IDs in for this week. I saw about 10 or 12 of you have already done that, so make certain that the rest of you that you get those in today. If you need an extension till tomorrow, please let me know. I'm happy to open it up. I'm trying to stay off of the weekends, but I know several of you are traveling. So please keep me posted if you feel like you need a little more time. Guys, keep me I know I keep saying keep me posted, but I do want to know how you're doing. Yeah, you guys are in my prayers constantly, and I really miss seeing your faces instead of lecturing to myself on a computer screen. Is a little on the weird side. But please, please do contact me if you're having difficulties with anything, whether it's academics or other stuff. Please do not hesitate to send me an email, call me, get me a hold of me on the Remind. We'll organize either a Zoom or a phone call, whatever you need. So please get a hold of me if you need to. And from there, I bid you a good evening and a good morning and a good afternoon wherever you are.